John Thune is the over-the-shoulder guy. There he is in his standard spot over the shoulder of Mitch McConnell. John Thune is much more noticeable than most over-the-shoulder guys because he's so much taller than the other shoulders that are usually around him. The shoulder John Thune is permanently attached to is Mitch McConnell. Senator Thune is the number 2 in the Republican Senate leadership. He has the title of Assistant Majority Leader, often referred to as the whip. There is no job there. It's just an honorary title. The majority leaders and minority leaders of the Senate have been doing their own vote counting for decades. Everyone deals directly with the majority leader and the minority leader, but phony leadership titles are thrown around in the Senate and the House to give members something to boast about back home and maybe help them with fundraising. And for John Thune, it means that pretty much every shot of Mitch McConnell that appears in South Dakota news media is also a picture of South Dakota's senior senator, John Thune. And the good news for John Thune is there's only one guy who can muscle him out of the over-the-shoulder position with Mitch McConnell, and that is the President of the United States. And that's a very helpful photograph for John Thune in South Dakota, a state that Donald Trump won by 30 points. Even though John Thune is theoretically, and only theoretically, the number 2 guy in the Senate leadership, it's not like he's the second most talkative Republican senator. He doesn't come in second to Mitch McConnell in public comments about affairs of state. In fact, John Thune's Senate career is mostly a silent movie, and that works for him because it works for South Dakota, where he's been elected to the Senate 3 times, once unopposed. So in this space tonight, where we would like to show you video of John Thune's reaction to the damning accusations against the President of the United States exposed in the redacted version of the Mueller report, we have nothing. John Thune has not rushed to the camera or to a microphone to issue his moral guidance or judgment on what we've been reading about the president, whose shoulder he gets to stand behind sometimes. But thanks to the congressional record and to C-SPAN video, we know exactly what John Thune thinks about this sort of thing, especially a president lying to the American people. That was one of the impeachment charges against President Richard Nixon in 1974, back when John Thune was in middle school, lying to the American people. And we know how strongly John Thune feels about lying to the American people, which the Mueller report proves Donald Trump did repeatedly. And we know that because when John Thune was in the House of Representatives, dreaming of someday growing up to be the over-the-shoulder guy in the United States Senate, he let us know just how strongly he feels about a president lying to the American people. This is what Congressman John Thune said on the House floor the day before he voted to impeach President Bill Clinton.
There's one other issue, an important issue that I'd like to address, and that is the matter of trust. Lying to the American people is a betrayal of trust. And the pattern of deception and dishonesty that acts as a bodyguard to this president strikes at the very core of his ability to lead. Either the president chooses contempt and complete disregard for the truth, or his conscience is so diminished as to leave him unable to discern the truth from his lies.
Betrayal of trust strikes at the very core of his ability to lead. He didn't mean any of that. Not a word. We didn't know that then. We didn't know enough about John Thune to know he wasn't telling the truth. He was in his first term in the House of Representatives, but now we know. John Thune's silence tells his story now. John Thune's silence about every lie President Trump has told, as documented in the Mueller report, not to mention the 9,000 lies the Washington Post reports the president has told publicly. That last line that you heard John Thune say about Bill Clinton certainly applies to Donald Trump. His conscience leaves him so diminished as to leave him unable to discern the truth from his lies. Let's watch John Thune say those words one more time, words that were no doubt written for him by his congressional staff, and think about who else those words might apply to.
His conscience is so diminished as to leave him unable to discern the truth from his lies.
Isn't that also a description of John Thune in his years of silent service to the presidency of Donald Trump?
Allegiance to our Constitution leaves us with no alternative but to vote in favor of impeaching the president.
John Thune gets tonight's last word. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.